Hey guys, what's going on? It's Andrew from AR Media. In today's video, I wanted to go over A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K UHD Blu-ray. In this review, I'll go over the movie itself, the picture quality, the sound quality, and if it's worth the double dip. So let's get straight into the movie. So this is one of my favorite horror franchises of all time, probably my favorite horror franchise of all time. Freddy Krueger is my favorite villain. I love the dream logic in here. I love the rules and the logic that goes down in here because they're so unlimited. Because the fact that he's in a dream, he really controls everything. You're in Freddy's world. And I think that really adds to the scare factor, but also the fun he has with his enemies. You can tell that Freddy Krueger's having a good time. He is a villain that talks, a villain that has a lot of personality, a villain that mocks the people he's killing, and that's very rare if you compare it to something like a Freddy or a Jason. This was a new really boundary in horror to cross, and I think that Wes Craven did it excellently. Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger is amazing. No one will ever be able to top that performance, and that was definitely what was missing from the remake in 2009 or 2011. I forgot which year, but this movie is just a masterpiece. It's a horror masterpiece that holds up perfectly. I don't think there's anything they could have done better in this first entry here. And really, this is my favorite of the whole series. But I like the whole series. I think they're all fun. I think that Freddy as a villain makes them all fun. And like I said, that dream logic and just be able to kind of stretch the boundaries really adds to the experience. So now let's get to the video quality on this. So this is a 4K digital intermediate. This was shot on film and this looks fantastic. So detail is a huge upgrade on here. The detail on things like sweaters, blankets, facial details, they're incredible. So the thing is, it's a huge step up from the Blu-ray in my opinion. And the resolution is really fantastic. The grain layer is nice and defined. It's a great presentation throughout. The only place that I could really see a little bit of a nitpick is when you compare it to these boutique labels like Vinegar Syndrome. They're knocking it out of the park with movies that are just as old and probably don't have as good as a source. But for a studio catalog film, I think this looks fantastic. I was pretty blown away at most of the dream sequences. Yes, it could have been better, but I think that the tech they're at for resolution is really pushing the boundary compared to where it was a few years ago. And no, this doesn't look like it was shot yesterday, but it looks fantastic and very, very cinematic. So this has HDR, no Dolby Vision, sadly. That's one point where I really knocked down. But the HDR on here is a great presentation. It makes the colors more lifelike, more nuances to the colors. In those darker scenes, when it takes place more in the boiler room, you could see more shadow detail on his gloves specifically. In that first intro scene, you could see a ton of detail compared to the Blu-ray. And the HDR just makes everything more lifelike, makes some colors pop, that shadow details increase, and overall just adds to this nice presentation. So the audio is a Dolby Atmos track, and it's the best it's ever sounded. The sound effects, the screeching of his knives, the soundtrack itself, it all really envelopes you, and it really creates a nice bubble of sound to immerse you. So when it comes down to it, this is a horror classic. This is one of the best horror movies in the last 50 years, in my opinion, and this is the best way to watch it. Yes, it could have maybe been better from a boutique label, but that's just not what we got. We got the studio catalog label, and for a studio release, it looks fantastic. There's nothing to complain about. Again, I do wish it had Dolby Vision, but the HDR does more than the job. This looks great, this sounds great, and in my opinion, is highly worth the double dip. Also, this seems to have sold very, very well, which means they are rumors that they're doing the rest of the Nightmare on Elm Street in 4K, which would be fantastic. I would love to purchase the whole catalog. Let me know down below your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me know if you plan on picking this up, and I'll see you guys in the next one.